working in favor of leftovers. But at this point, of course, if you win one map, you want the second, and you might as well go for the third. Dignitas, on the other hand, they are probably going to get a little bit mad right now and be like, well, we don't really like what's going on here right now. We already lost the series this year against Zealots. We don't want to make that too.
I'm just imagining a world where you win 2 games in a row. You're like, I'm good for the day. I'm done. Just pick heroes. We'll auto-select. We'll pick Caldor, and we'll go from there. So game 3 here. We're going to Volskaya Foundry, which has gotten really popular in these last couple of weeks. Volskaya Foundry seems to be a battleground that a lot of people are starting to appreciate now, especially with the changes on the Protector, allowing for aggressive builds, but also for different heroes to come in the rotation. Thrall suddenly with that Crash Lightning build becomes much more powerful.
Chromie is another hero that we could see again on the map. This is actually the map where we saw the most play with the Time Trap build that ADRD coined a little bit for himself. But yeah, another really cool map to see with a new Protector right now. Of course, in the early game, it's much more powerful. So if you pick 2 or 3, you can be insanely aggressive with it. But that makes definitely the 5 versus 5 fights that we have very dominant. And I'm curious to see how that's going to go.
I just like how many strategies are opened up when it comes to this battleground. I mean, even in on the eastern side of the world, when we get to the Eastern Clash, we got to see a Cho'Gall on this battleground, and it stood toe-to-toe against a Protector. Eventually, that team did lose, but it was interesting to see a different take on what you can pull out here.
Yeah, that's a good word to describe it. It was interesting.
Interesting. Let's see. Dignitas, thinking about their ban here. Do we continue to stay away from the Tracer, or will they elect to try and grab it themselves here?
Yeah, it's actually really cool that Tracer hasn't really been played yet because, as we said before, both teams have great Tracer players. Leftovers have prioritized her more than anything else. And especially from the stance of Leftovers, it's super impressive how good they are with Tracer. Because Tracer, for them, they have played 8 games with Tracer, and they won 5 out of those 8 games. That's a 62% win ratio on the hero. And that is far and beyond anything that they pulled off with any other hero that has this many games played on their side. So pretty cool to see that, and it just enhances again how strong DAB is on these hyper carries.
Yep, whenever he's able to grab the hero that he wants to get in and get aggressive with, he will find those kills. Even a couple moments on that Hanzo where he was able to find a couple picks and catch up with that. Now, Leftovers thinking about their ban with Maiev being gone. They're probably considering themselves, do they want to give up Tracer? Do we want to give up maybe even Garrosh on this battleground? Because Garrosh around the control point is actually a very difficult hero to deal with. They like to go ahead and ban out the Malfurion, which means Tracer is up, but at least they take away the iconic duo.
Yeah, and Tracer immediately taken, but that means that they can now head into an early Stukov if they want him. And then Dignitas is not going to be able to use any of that. Might go into Uther, might go into Rhaegar, but Tracer is definitely in. So Leftovers was hoping to get Tracer, but Dignitas is still saying, well, without Malfurion or not, we're still going to take her.
Leftovers have been electing to grab Hanzo pretty early in the last couple of games here. Hanzo's still good on this battleground too, and also gives you the engages that you want post-10, which Leftovers are looking for. They seem to be a little bit more aggressive in the last couple of weeks compared to what we saw in the first 5 weeks of the HGC. And I'm still sold on Garrosh being an early pickup here, especially on this battleground, just having that strong frontline warrior. They actually switched it up though. They get Tassadar and Stukov. It's double support back, Caldor.
With Tassadar, it definitely is. And if you look at the last 2 games, Tassadar has a 100% win ratio today. Both games, the Tassadar composition with the 2 supports was able to win.
Wow.
Now keep in mind that Tracer on the side of Dignitas has actually a 100% win ratio. They played her 7 times and they're currently undefeated when playing with Tracer. And by now, Dig has actually started to lose some maps. They of course lost only 1 series, and that was the series against Zealots. But still, Dignitas is in a spot where at least they're showing, I don't want to say some weakness, but there's still opportunities where teams can all of a sudden start taking maps against them. So Tassadar and Stukov now claimed on the side of Leftovers, and probably going to head into Hanzo, I would say, here. And the question remains, what happens if Dignitas bans Hanzo out?
How do you beat a Tassadar 100% win rate? You pull out the Lily 100% win rate. That's North America showcase how strong she can be.
Are you trying to bait me?
No, just throwing out ideas.
Don't get me wrong, I'm also looking for an adventure, but can we at least like...
It is impressive that Lily has 3 wins, I believe, in North America. Because the 3rd win, wow, that was a crazy one. If you guys missed that match, it was actually here on Volskaya Foundry. There was a catapult pushing in and didn't get cleared up, and somehow, some way,
Winions, pretty good.
Lily was able to get forward. Junkrat and Garrosh, displacement, displacement, displacement. Feels like these continue to be a duo here in the HGC Europe. Just be having that ability to find any target and get the isolated kill. Also magnified by the pulse bomb coming in. Support will come later here for Dignitas. But Leftovers looking to take out that mouth heal.
I'm still on the Lily train.
You're still thinking about Lily?
Yeah.
Once you get some there, man.
I'm triggered. It's like pink elephant. Don't think about a pink elephant. It's not working.
I'm thinking of a blue elephant. That's how my brain works. A nice big blue elephant.
There's the Hanzo band. So
Hanzo.
honor.
I knew you were gonna do it. I wanted to see if you would cough afterwards. That was a little mean of me, wasn't it?
Oh, I hate you. Seriously? That's why you triggered that?
Oh,
Let's
man.
make him cough?
Yeah, I was trying to see if it would like tickle your vocal cords a little bit. Nah, it didn't. You're still strong. You're powering through.
I'm still
Caldor
trying
is
to
strong
power
and
through,
brave
yeah.
and bold.
Okay, but I still really want to know what's going to be the one damage healer, the auto attacker that they really start to emphasize with this. Sonya already makes sense. This is something that we saw from Dignitas on the previous map. So I guess if you put the full focus of the Tacita shields onto Sonya, you go for the extra armor on level 4, then you can also just throw a mage into the last spot. You could, for example, play even Garrosh.
Sure.
Could play Garrosh here. Junkrat is already taken on the side of Dignitas, so Blake Kidney can't play him here. But I feel the Hanzo ban was definitely something that was to be expected. Also from Leftover side, and with how quickly they picked their own double setup here, I feel that's exactly what happened. But I still want to see if they have maybe a bit of a twist towards the end.
I'm trying to think of any of the auto attackers that would come in. Cassia is a worry because Garrosh is able to pick her off easily because of her low range.
Then again, Leftovers have actually a pretty good track record with Cassia, and they already played her a couple of times. So I agree with you though, but
Yeah.
maybe they think it's still fine. You could also theoretically think about, okay, what happens to Lunara, especially now that Uther is taken.
True.
You have the shields on Tyrael as well, though.
Well, Dignitas gonna play it safe here, and they go for big safety nets. Divine Shield, Uther heals, Tyrael as well as Signification, and Lunara will be the answer.
And there she is.
Luckily for Dignitas, while Uther usually struggles against Lunara, having that Tyrael slotted in there to give you shields will be helpful enough against some of the poison, but eventually there will come a point where Leftovers can break them. So we're going to need Tracer to be pretty effective here at finding a kill and winning the team fight quick, just to make sure that Lunara is unable to have that sustained battle that she enjoys to have. But so far, looking into the draft, it's a bit different here for Leftovers. Nice poke, a little bit of aggressive Sonya and Lunara to back it up.
I mean, a lot of this is going to hinge on Tracer and the plays around her again. Of course, we also have Junkrat in the mix, and that's going to be super important too, especially we know the impact that Snitch in particular can have with that hero. But the double support has been strong today. The Tacita combinations that we've seen have proven to be victorious on the first and the second map. And how crazy would it be if Leftovers actually take the lead over Dignitas?
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. And I'm kind of hoping for a Dignitas victory here, because I don't want double support to come back. It might be a little bit selfish for me, but I don't want to have to start picking Tacita our first pick in Hero League anymore. So Dignitas, please shut them down. No bias whatsoever, hashtag. Going into Volskaya Foundry, who do you think owns the control point, though? Who has the better ability to control that area?
I feel from a pure sustain perspective that has to be the double support setup. The question just is how much kill pressure can Garrosh together with Tracer and Junkrat provide. So that I think is going to decide a lot here. But let's head into the game as we have to the left side Leftovers. With Blake Kidney on Tacita, we see Portiboss on Sonya, Lauber on Johanna, DAB on Lunara for the auto attack, supported by Tacita, and linked on Stukov.
On the right side in the red, Webby will play Tyrael, Snitch on Junkrat, Poik on Tracer, Zelia on Uther, and JPL. Playing Garrosh, looking for those combos, trying to find those picks. And of course, going into that Groundbreaker build. Been pretty popular here. The shield at level 13, synergizing really well with that level 1, making it a little bit easier for you to stay alive.
For me, the first question is really going to be the level 4 talent for Tacita. I don't think there's a way that you go again for the speed. That's still something that I found super interesting from Leftovers when they played the Tacita setup on the last map on Tomb of the Spider Queen. But right now, I think if you want to focus on Sonya with a lot of your shields when she's at the front line, then having the extra armor definitely helps. Especially when you're going up against Junkrat and Tracer, who just have, especially through Junkrat, you have all of that poke available to you. But Dignitas also has to showcase here that they are able to take this game, because keep in mind what Poik talked about. He said that they feel even if they're not in tip-top shape, Leftovers shouldn't be able to do more than win maybe a map, maybe two. And even that he thought was already a very low probability. He was very convinced that against Leftovers there's very little chance that they actually lose. And I would actually agree with that, but yeah. Leftovers look stronger and stronger every week.
Rightfully so. I mean, the number 1 seed against the number 8 seed. Definitely not a statement that Poi can need to stay away from. But there's always that spot of where if you believe you're the better team and then suddenly you're down 2-1, things start to pop up in terms of question marks. Now, Dignitas so far has shown that they are a strong mental team. They are ready to have anything that comes their way and tackle it head on and be able to deal with it as a team. So I have no major worries about Dignitas being able to get the win here, but I wouldn't mind Leftovers coming out and going to game 4, game number 5.
One of the concerns that a lot of people had when the Dignitas roster developed, when they put the new roster together, was that there's potential for maybe tilt after losing a game, after losing a map, that this might be a worry. And to be fair, that's most of the time a concern that you have when new teams form. It's always, is the synergy really there? Do people trust each other enough to not blame each other, but just simply work through problems and say, okay, we lost, why did we lose, and how can we improve on that? And Dignitas has so far in 2018 really shown that they can deal with losses pretty well. They're usually in a spot where they can shake a map loss off quite easily and just say, okay guys, it happened. Let's not overthink things here. Let's focus on the next map. Try to think, okay, what did we do wrong on the last one? Why did it happen? But then put all the attention to the next map and not dwell in the past. So from that perspective, I don't think they have any problem shaking the last loss off. But it's going to be still interesting if Leftovers now with the momentum that they just gained are in a spot where they can say, okay, guys, we got this. We can actually win a second map here.
Well, so far they are very evenly matched as both teams are working to grab their mercs in the top and left, right, and corners. Top left corner, top right corner. Get those pushing in for that top side and going for that control point in the middle, which will be spawning in about 25 seconds. We have that Holy Shock build coming in for Uther. Pretty popular as of late. Really strong against any mobile characters, trying to get a little bit of damage on them, sustain through a little bit, helps out in the sustain team fight, but also gives you that heal that you can come up with afterwards with that cooldown reduction after you hit it on an opposing target. So Uther looking pretty good there, but as we continue to move into the control point, we'll see if Garrosh is able to have a mark on that fight, which is typically where we see him really strong.
Exactly, and we've seen Garrosh plays completely dominate matches. At this point, though, we also have on level 4, as expected, the extra armor for Tacita. So the whole idea is really to keep the front line alive, and that's more so true for Sonya than for the main warrior, which in this case is, of course, Johanna. Lauber has his own iron skin and should be able to move out of these situations. But we look at the same setup that we had on the first map. Once that you actually get flipped, Tacita is going to be your friend. When Garrosh moves in, gets a good flip in, then Tacita needs to be the one throwing out the shield. So there's a couple of targets that we have naturally for him, for Tacita to get those shields out. That's Sonya at the front line, trying to allow her to go a bit deeper. And if there's ever a jump onto Lunara in the back line, then of course you need to try and keep her alive. And outside of that, the one setup that Tacita needs to focus on is what happens when Garrosh gets that displacement.
Yeah. Being able to save them, bringing in that shields, but also to add on top of all those positives, you also buy enough time for Stukov to get those heals out and spread appropriately, being able to get the kill switch in and be able to get that massive heal if we need to. So the Tassadar Stukov combo seems to be one that we might start to see pretty often when those synergies are starting to overlay on top of each other. Now, it looks like one of our players did DC, so we're going to be waiting here for a couple of seconds. And I kind of want to revisit our discussion earlier about who exactly is the smartest warrior. Have you had any extra thoughts?
I know what's coming now. Like, I'm not going to name that guy.
Artanis?
It's not happening.
He is the smartest warrior.
It's definitely Stitches. 400 IQ hooks.
Yeah.
And that smile, that smart, smug smile that he has.
I did have a tweet come in and mention that Winston could be a possibility if he ever comes into Heroes of the Storm. He would be the smartest warrior by far. He's got a big brain and he comes from the moon.
Yeah.
He's not a fan of the Winston. He's
Nah.
not feeling it coming in there.
If we ever get an Overwatch tank,
You want Reinhardt?
like, I want Reinhardt.
I want Reinhardt too.
I mean, of course I want Reinhardt.
Yeah, I think Reinhardt would be the one. I didn't think
Reinhardt.
about that. Yeah, the whole like German thing. I guess that's cool. But the shield play, how fun would that be if you were able to pop it up? That's where most of your health points are. Maybe he's like super weak behind. He's a frail old German that's gonna be killed at any point. But he has this massive shield. That would be a cool tank play. Like, let's be honest.
I just see Genji jumping over the shield, just hitting it twice.
Hit him once or twice.
Dead.
I mean, how's it different from any other hero? Let's be real. Like,
You make a good point
yeah,
there.
that's what I do. I bring in the points.
Definitely true.
Any other amazingly smart warriors? I would assume Diablo would be really intelligent, even though he's
Really?
yeah.
Why?
Isn't he like the prime evil? Like, you have to have some kind of intelligence to be there, right? You play Diablo, so you have to be the one that delivers on this.
But I'm not quite sure if he's smart. I mean,
he's come back from death like 4 times. That's That's
I mean,
intelligence.
you can't kill the guy. It's like you can't kill evil, so that's not how it works.
I think we need to work on our lore segments because we suck at lore.
The thing is, I also played through all of this, like I played Diablo 1, 2, 3, and a lot. So in my head, I'm like, I should probably know more
Yeah, I
about
should
that.
know. Is
I
he
can
intelligent or
recite
not?
half of the intros of the Skeleton King and about a couple of other quests that you have.
Oh,
But
really? You can recite?
Yeah.
I think it's time for Caldor to recite
No, come.
the start of intro. Let's get those cutscenes going.
Yeah, come on, get that signal away from me. I'm sick, okay? Stop picking on the sick.
Here, I'll paint the scene. All right, currently there are a couple of angels fighting. You look down, there's a demon coming from the ground, moving straight up. Caldor, what is happening on this weird world of Tristam?
Are we really doing this?
We're doing this. Go.
This is so cringe.
This is us filling time, man.
Like, okay, like apparently the player is just coming back, so
Oh
I
my
don't have to quote the
gosh.
Skeleton King here. We don't even have Leoric in the game. Okay, if we have Leoric in the game, I'll drop it during the game.
Okay, all right, we'll do it. Let's go into it here finally as we get ready for the first control point. We're all tied up 1-1, but also tied up in experience here. 5.25 to 5.5 of Dignitas. Starting to move in towards that control point.
And now with Dig already having, I mean, the Litten experience is really not too rough. But the one thing I want to highlight with this is that when the last time we looked at Leftovers versus Dignitas, last time they faced each other, the one big deal was that Leftovers was falling behind in experience continuously throughout the entire game because they had big troubles just soaking the lanes and keeping up with the rotations. It was just when they came out of the Open Division and arrived in HGC, and you can really tell how much they improved already on that one aspect alone, because they're doing pretty well just keeping the lane soak up and at the same time going for the spot to start and contest it. So that's one of the things that I feel is pretty sweet, no matter how the series ends, but just seeing that they're to an extent at least able to keep up with the rotation play that we have from Dignitas, that's really impressive and shows the growth of the team.
Yeah, their progress is definitely measurable. We can look at week 1 and week 7 and totally spot the differences in how they're playing. But right now, their play is kind of hurting at the moment as Dignitas controls the point, jumps up in a lead here, 76-0. Junkrat pushing in that top lane. Now with Johanna getting thrown around the corner here, JPL looking to put a little bit of damage. Poik goes forward, tries to fight the pulse bomb, but actually misses out.
Yeah, misses the pulse bomb, but Whoopi now is all of a sudden in a bit of trouble. Overtime has reached. Tower is on, turret is on the platform, and Tassadar and Junkrat are still both at the top. So Tassadar needs also to back up because he nearly died and has to actually restart his Hearthstone because Junkrat dropped a couple of grenades and nearly dropped him there. But that also means that Dignitas will have an opportunity to fight a 4 versus 5 for a few seconds here. And that's not really great for Leftovers. They're trying to buy some time until Tassadar is back. But this is going to be a pretty nice battle that we have over the first control point in the game, with Dignitas already having such a great lead.
Yeah, Dignitas buying some time here. Finally, the turret gets cleaned up, and now they can step up and force a fight. Junkrat rotating up on the top side as well. There's a pulse bomb. Iron's getting used to negate that. But team at Dignitas making the play for the point. But so far, Tassadar and Stukov showing how strong it can be here as DAB is starting to get work done.
Stukov alone is doing such a great job every single time a target is flipped, just making sure that the silence is there so that a follow-up is difficult. But here comes the poke from outside as Snitch goes in, and DAB is under constant pressure the entire time. With, oh, the kill against Johanna though. Tracer going in and getting the kill here. They're trying to keep Lunara alive. Once again, Blakitney just dropping shield after shield to keep Lunara in play. But without their tank, without Johanna, this is just rough. Especially since Poppy Boss all of a sudden gets flipped in. And the second time, double kill. Tracer eliminating, first of all, Johanna, and then following up on the second frontline hero.
I actually feel really bad for Sonya, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying, considering how strong she is. But the last 8 seconds of that fight, she was unable to move any way she wanted to, being flipped, being stunned, Tracer pelting her constantly, getting her low on health. She tried to walk away, there's a groundbreaker knocking her up into the air. Sonya got bodied in that last couple of fights.
Yeah, not only her, there's a lot of pressure plays that we're seeing. You can really tell that Blakitney is, for example, looking to keep everyone alive. And the problem that he has is, while the entire aggression happened around Johanna and Sonya, there was also a jump over and over onto Lunara. So he's always in that weird limbo where he has to work around the shield cooldown, tries to keep Lunara alive, but then at the same time, all of a sudden the front line is targeted, and he has a tough time just focusing on both. So the sustain is going to be there for them, but it's still rough going at this point because there's so much poke from Junkrat. Garrosh has the plays isolating targets, and then you have just Sonya all over the place, and that's once again just heads up play by Poik.
On the other side, though, Dignitas playing their compositions pretty well, too. Taking that Tracer and finding those early kills and getting an early lead is something that we wanted to see after seeing the draft. And they took a 4 in the top left. They've had 10 since then, with Sanification, Riptire coming on, being able to move into that taunt, and of course the Divine Shield. Team Dignitas will be able to be pretty effective at trying to force kills. My question is whether or not Leftovers will be able to protect that Lunara when things get a little hectic.
Yeah, now we have also a massive, massive lead for Dignitas, which is another problem. You have a 2-level lead at this point already, and that is going to make your entire position on the map so much better. You pick up level 13 talent, and then if you can use that to be aggressive and maybe take down a few towers, maybe get another objective, then you have a really good chance of snowballing this towards level 16 early on. And that's exactly what you're, of course, trying to do if you're in Dignitas' shoes at this point. They're already going through the camps to make sure that they have a good item position before we are heading into the next objective. And they're looking strong right now. And as you said, with the level 10 abilities, especially Taunt being available, there's so much more kill potential that they now all of a sudden have.
Healing beacons, turrets picked up here for Team Dignitas. Looking over at the Leftovers to get that Thornwood Vine, so they are definitely looking to play that sustained game, poking, letting Johanna follow that front line, maybe getting Sonya in that back line when she can, but she has to be careful, because don't forget, when a Sanification comes out and you try to Whirlwind, you're not going to get any healing value there, and that's where Team Dignitas can turn around and try to force a kill, especially with that Uther stun. And again, as we keep going back to it, that Garage lockdown. So much CC here for Dignitas to find a target. Leftovers will have to be on point when it comes to the movement.
And Poik at the same time missed another pulse bomb. Not really too big of a deal, already has it about to be back. And he actually said in the past quite frequently that you can actually spam the pulse bomb out.
Throw it out.
If you miss 1 or 2, that's not the end of the game. You just need to make sure that you keep constant pressure up and always keep them guessing. Make sure that there's pressure on those players. Now they have the level 13 talent, as we talked about as well. And that lead alone is now going to allow Dignitas to be way more aggressive around the camps of their opponent if they want to. Might be a bit late on that top camp, as we're seeing Leftovers already in position for that. But Snitch is now also taking a solo camp towards the top right.
It's going to be grabbed there. They'll be pushing in that top lane. Should be having the control points pop up pretty soon. I'm watching middle, though, because Garrosh is threatening to go in for possibly a bit of a push. Just dropping a Groundbreaker, it looks like, and trying to clear out this wave with the help of Wubby, while Tracer continues to be annoying against that Sonya in that bottom lane, who is actually taking a bit of a beating. Trying to hold there, but she goes down to half HP already.
I actually want to see what happens with the bottom left camp, because that's going to be up in just a few seconds again. And Dignitas could definitely try to invade that. They're even getting aggressive enough to focus Poryboss now, so Poryboss has to be really careful. Okay, moves back for now, but we have another 6 seconds on the camp that we see down here. And the question just remains, is Dignitas going to try and make a play for it? Or are they just going to leave it for Leftovers to take it?
Yeah, I thought they were actually just going to wait for it to completely spawn and then wait for Sonya to come in and try and grab it and then just pick her off. Because you know if Sonya wants to move in for a Merc camp, it's like candy to her. She wants to be there as soon as she can. Sadly.
Has an item already, though.
Oh, it's just true. She did have an item already.
But now the top lane. 13 versus 13 on both sides now. We have the extra talent. And that is also the moment when we see Lunara trying to play it safe here with a greater spell shield. Making sure that all the poke and especially the pressure through Tracer with a pulse bomb is not going to be as deadly anymore. We still have the Thornwood Vines here, which is going to be great to poke from the outside. But Dignitas, they have taken the position here on the control point itself. And here comes the play. Sonya is down once again. And now Lauber finds himself also in trouble. About to run here. Lauber is down as Poik is just cleaning house here, taking down Sonya and then focusing immediately on the kill against Johanna.
And don't forget about Snitch. Meanwhile, the entire time just dropping grenades consistently on that back line. Stukov getting low enough to where he had to escape. Lunara attempting to retreat, as you just mentioned. And now Junkrat goes back to doing Junkrat things, which is jumping around the map and clearing out the waves. His ability to travel across the map is pretty hard to deal with. He's almost a better split pusher, it feels like, than a Dahaka, even with that ability to global around the map.
Yeah, now the camp is... Oh, Lunara.
That's not good.
Bambi, you moved out a little bit. Yeah, spell shield helps, but not enough. There's the kill. And that is just horrible for Leftover. As Dignitas, in, again, dominant fashion, very reminiscent of game number 1, is absolutely shredding them here. Lauber is willing to contest the point here. And they're going for it. It's a 3 versus 4 for now, but the Punisher, the Protector is actually coming in now as well. And this is going to turn around against Leftovers very quickly.
That healing beacon also keeping that Tracer alive as she built up another pulse bomb.
God.
Oh my gosh, Link getting chunked. Luckily his shield comes out and a heal for himself, able to survive. And Team Dignitas decides, all right, well, if you're going to put all of your eggs in the basket defending bottom lane, we'll rotate to the middle and force you to come to us as we attempt to siege down your fort.
Yeah, and the Protector is going straight into the mid lane here, and that thing has been just shredding stuff. The talent advantage is also absolutely gigantic right now. Having the 16, the Benediction on Uther alone with the double stun is just absolutely fantastic. And Tracer is again taking down Sonya. Poik is just everywhere right now. He's just dancing around, getting the shots in, dropping the bolt bombs. DAB is suffering on his low health pool, and that just makes it easy for Dignitas to pick up another fort in the mid lane. And they're already starting to rotate to get the one down at the bottom. We have Zelia and Poik taking care of that. So all 3 forts are now eliminated on leftover side. And that means we're going to talk about breaking down keep walls.
Sonya's having a hard time, man. Even attempting to try and get a Whirlwind in, but with Uther coming in now with that Benediction stun, she just can't heal out anything that comes her way, especially with Tracer constantly being on that front line auto-attacking her. Very annoying for that Sonya, and we'll see if she's able to find a way to eventually get to a point where she can get in the fight, because so far Dignitas has done a really good job of shutting her down between the CCs that they have. Leftovers in a spot where they need to get level 16, and the good news is that they still have keep stuff, so that's always great for them. But the problem is look at the opposing side. They have all 3 forts still standing. They are in a great spot in terms of defense, and they're already setting up well to get this top lane pushing in and control those items, as they have 3 turrets already available for the next control point, which is going to be difficult to break.
Yeah, the macro position for Dignitas is fantastic, but it's not only that. It makes it really difficult, we said that before, for Tassadar to focus on who he needs to push his shield out. Because his front line is constantly under trouble, and the entire damage is just spread. You have Garrosh starting to flip people over that immediately get attacked. There's a huge CC chain that Dignitas can use. And then you have just Poik on Tracer jumping onto Lunara. So Tassadar just has to throw his shield out everywhere. And Dignitas is playing really well around the cooldown. Attacking one target, baiting the shield out, and just like immediately flipping it and going on a different hero. Or trying to get the isolation done with Garrosh or Junkrat. And then you have the double stun on Uther through Benediction. And there's just very little that leftovers can do. So the heavy sustainable composition that they have doesn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, unable to get their pokes, and then they have Junkrat constantly in this top lane. Tassadar had to peel out, so those shields don't even become an option, as you were talking about, to even keep leftovers alive. Team Dignitas now 3 levels ahead and moving for 4-level lead here, trying to get towards that level 20, so they can move in and force a fight on the control point and look towards ending the game. Another item goes over to them here as they grab the healing beacon. And things are looking a bit desperate here for leftovers. They may just have to put it all into one fight soon.
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. I mean, right now we're looking at 3 turrets, 1 healing pulse. I don't even know if Snitch himself also has another one. Let me double check that real quickly. No, he's the only one on the setup that currently doesn't hold an item. But they could also change that pretty soon when one of the camps respawns. We have a 2-minute timer currently at the bottom left, as we just saw here. Towards the bottom right, we are looking at 24 seconds. So if they wanted to get another turret, they can definitely do that. And if you have 4 turrets available as you're heading into the next objective, 20 or no 20, you are in a fantastic position. And as you said before, Dignitas is most likely even getting their Storm Talents before that happens.
DAB gets a little pulse bomb there, spell shield with proc, and that is going to be the end of Lunara, which means this is the end of the fight for leftovers. Team at Dignitas chase down Sonya, lock her down. Polyboss is taken out. Snitch going for his own chase as well as he goes towards Linked. Lauber will do his best to slow him down, but that is going to be it there for leftovers. They lose that team fight, and the control point easily goes over Dignitas.
Yeah, now we have a 3-level lead. We have level 20, Storm Talents. They don't even have to use the items that they have. They can actually keep them to go through the bot. And as you can see, they want to end the game with this. They're already moving in as 2 heroes are dead, with 4 are starting to put pressure onto the keep itself. And of course, the wall already destroying it. So it's going to make it way easier for the Protector to move through. Tassadar is at the top, trying to take some structures out, get some experience, but there's just no way for them to get level 20 fast enough. And Dignitas dropping 1 turret alone, already able to go through the keep. And now once they have the Protector, they can go straight for the core.
8 kills to 0. Protector's at 60% right now. Tassadar trying to buy time in the top lane and get that fort so they can get their experience and jump up a little bit, but I don't think they're going to get it in time. As Team Dignitas, man, they beat down leftovers in game number 1. Team number 2, in a spot where leftovers controlled the tempo, was able to shut them down. But coming to game number 3, Team Dignitas says, okay, 2 months Spider Queen, we made a couple mistakes. Well, Sky Foundry, we're not making any.
Yeah, this is, again, as we said before, this reminds a lot of what happened in game number 1, where Dignitas was absolutely dominant. And this is pretty much the exact script here. Leftovers now have to try and defend against a 15-16-minute Protector, level 20 advantage, and all of the items that we see on Dignitas' side. Very unlikely that they can hold this, but they're going to try. And maybe if they get a lucky kill here at some point, they are able to make that happen. But already the Protector on the core itself. We have a few of the turrets down. Zelia is a bit low, but again, he also has his Resurrection still available. Lauba is low, so is Boss. Wooby still no problems here. Tracer falls actually, but so does the core of Leftovers.
Tracer was way in that back line. Leftovers chasing her to the keep area, which allowed for Dignitas to just put all the rest of the resources into killing down the core, and they will do so. Down to 0 it goes, and Team Dignitas goes up 2-1 over Leftovers.
Yeah, Dignitas taking down the core with plenty to spare. I mean, the Tyrael explosion alone already takes another 5 to 6% off, depending on how late in the game we are. So, great play here by Dignitas, and with them opening up the bottom lane immediately after getting the double kill against Leftovers, there was just very little hope of Leftovers making anything out of that.
Yeah, so going into game number 4, is there anything insane that Leftovers can do here to try and just mix it up against Dignitas, or do they continue to stay with the same type of drafts and just try to go toe-to-toe against them? Or do we go to a different battleground and try to really mix it up?
I mean, the battleground might make a difference here, but I think they're going to try and play in their comfort zone still. As we heard before, they also see this as a bit of a training game, in a sense, try what we can. If we can win a few maps, that's great. If for some reason Dignitas chokes and we can win the series, we'll do that too.
Sure.
But if it only is... But the main thing for us is get some experience out of that and prepare through that match for next ones. They know that this is going to be the hardest for them, and that's what Link talked about when we heard him speak earlier about what his expectations for the match are.
Yeah, for me, I